Why is this? This is weird. It's like it's actually on. Is this on? I'm confused.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
That's us live.
That's weird. Well, I'm gonna relaunch it anyway.
So the Twitch stream kept going, huh?
It reconnected, I guess.
Oh, wow.
Somehow. I don't know how it reconnected that far after. But it did. Take 3. Is the chat still working?
I don't have anything. I'm 48 minutes and it's not live anymore.
That's weird. Let me reconnect the phones.
Number you are calling from has been reported as spam.
What?
If you believe this is incorrect, please dial 1 to report the issue and visit freecallerregistry.com to register your number.
I have no idea what that is.
Wow.
That's weird.
Oh.
What? Oh, what?
We're live again.
We are?
What the hell's going
Are
on?
we on YouTube too?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm confused.
Hi, everybody.
This has never, ever, ever happened again.
Wow.
I actually restarted my router. I went out and gave it a 30-second hard restart. That never happens. It never holds on to a connection that long. Well, we're still here. I have no idea what the hell's going on.
People are flooding back in.
Well, get back here.
On your way in, hit that thumb.
We ain't done with you yet.
Get back here.
What are you doing? We
Come
ain't.
here.
Did we say to leave? I don't think so.
Did you get a special report?
No.
Did somebody say you can leave the premises?
That's weird.
Hey, we're back. Where were we? What were we talking about?
I don't know.
We talked to David, and
No, my chat's screwed though.
I don't remember.
Oh, there it comes. There you go.
Oh.
You guys are being watched by Big Brother.
Yeah. If we're not on a list somewhere, we're not doing our job.
I tell you what, we'll take it, folks.
Yep.
I have no idea. That's very strange. I've never seen this hold on to a connection. Usually if it's down for 10, 12, 15 seconds, it's crickets.
Right.
You know, it's literally like, nope, that's dead. Got to relaunch. So I was requeuing everything up to relaunch and renaming and getting ready for that. And here we are.
Here we are.
I don't know. Some weird stuff on the interwebs, folks. Maybe it's the aliens coming in. I was thinking the disruption was a ghost, maybe. Could be.
Ghost is like, hey, Brent, watch this.
Yeah. Hey, hold my beer. Yeah, whatever the case.
We live in the land of hold my beer.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it looks like we are still here, folks. So you got that going for you, which is maybe worth something. I don't know.
It may not be all that much.
May not be all that much, but by God, we's here. And yeah, I think Twitch is still live.
Is it twitching?
There's a network error. Let's reload the player and see what's going on. I just got to make sure Twitch is up, because otherwise this will look plenty stupid.
Yeah.
Click here. I'm trying. Let me do this. See if it's just going to keep rolling. Is it? Yep, still rolling. God bless it. We are live everywhere, folks. I don't know. This is absolutely, in 7 years of doing the show, going on 8. I've never seen this happen before.
Good point. Yeah.
So
we've been kicked off plenty of times.
Yeah, we've been.
This is a new one.
We've been kicked more than Bruce Lee's punching bag. Yeah. So whatever the case.
All right. Wow.
Okay. Well, I'm absolutely.
So what was next on your agenda?
Maggie said, "I don't know what happened. I don't understand." I'm not sure I do either, Maggie. I know we've got really crappy weather up here right now. It's getting cold. Probably are there's lines going up or down, or any number. I mean, everything up here is like repurposed telegraph lines. So
Right.
it's old, an old infrastructure.
Beep, beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep, 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 beep.
So I don't know what's going on, but we were just dead in the water. The whole house was just dead. And so I went out and restarted the router, gave it a 30-second hard boot. That means leaving it unplugged for 30 seconds so the capacitors drain out everything. And then when you plug it back in, it should get a brand new everything from the ISP and re-solidify your connection. You should actually do that every week anyway.
Probably.
No, I mean, it's absolutely recommended in IT circles. But it held on to the connection for all that time. And I had a piece of little pie.
he had to go have a piece of pie.
I had pie.
I had pie.
So, I don't know. Very, very strange. Electrical infrastructure. But we are still live, so I'm not gonna look the gift horse in the mouth. Just gonna be happy it was here because we are gonna get to a thought catalog article we've been going through for a while. And what the hell is this?
I don't know.
They saw it with their own eyes. No, I finished this one. I know I finished this one. Created entirely out of shapes. Maybe it didn't. Didn't I? I don't know. I pulled up a couple things just because of Lon's issues.
Right.
Actually, I should look at Lon's issues and see if his issues seem to be web server, returning an unknown error. Yeah, Lon's still down. So,
Oh, that sucks.
actually, yeah, let's go to the thought catalog article we've been getting through. Information creatures they saw with their own eyes. This one, okay. We've been going through the black-eyed kids stories, and these are pretty crazy. I know that the black-eyed kids stories are incredibly rare. First of all, I mean, they hardly come up at all. Whatever they are, whatever the phenomena is, and I guess my gut on it is it's more like dark spiritual, lower vibrational entities.
Right.
And I don't think that they're here all the time or they're physical all the time, but I think they can manifest completely or, become absolutely insubstantial and exist in matters in between or in states in between.
Quantum entanglement?
Well, entanglement is vibration, but or the connectedness of quantum
Right.
materials across the
You got to
galaxy.
remember, though, they say that it's said that if you're not actively looking at whatever it is not there, and that's quantum entanglement. That's quantum physics.
That's
saying
quantum
that
physics.
If
Yeah.
you're not looking at that particular photon at that time, it's not actually there. What
Yeah.
you see out of your peripheral is what your brain has like buffered in.
Yeah.
So,
But entanglement, as I understand it, specifically, is like if you took a quantum structure and you stretched
Right.
one electron of it to one side of the galaxy and another one to the other side, when you moved one, the other one would move in real time,
Right.
thus making space absolutely irrelevant. So,
if we turned up we can't turn up anymore.
what?
Somebody said, "Can you turn up?" Oh, Rachel. So it's not us, Rachel. Our
What?
board is working just fine.
Turn up the volume?
Yeah.
Oh, I can go a little higher here.
All right.
A little bit. That's about all I can give you, though.
There you go.
We're
Otherwise,
about we're about maxed out here on the board. That's all we got, Keepton.
it might have something to do with the internets.
The interwebs.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, these dark black-eyed kids they're a strange phenomena, but I just think they're more akin to demonic or something of the sort. Maybe not exactly demonic, or maybe some realm of the demonic, but not a demon per se.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we're going to go to a story here. This one isn't it. That one's one I read, but I was going to read on a different show I was guest on. But we're on number 4. You Must Let Me In.
Mm-hmm. No, I must not.
And if you didn't guess it, Don's got a real
boss of me.
issue with black-eyed kids.
Yep.
He's not a fan.
No.
Not a fan. This is one of those topics that have always given Don the willies, and rightfully so. I mean, they give me the willies too. All right, so You Must Let Me In. We might have read this one, but we're reading it again because I can't tell. It says, on March 17th, 2008, I had my one and only encounter with a black-eyed kid. Before my experience, I'd never heard of anything having to do with the black-eyed kids.
Okay, so the story before that said the same exact thing. I'd never heard of a black-eyed kid until this happened. So, whatever.
Maybe.
Yeah, scroll up to the top. Yeah, scroll
Really?
up to the top of number 3.
And see, that makes sense, though, because I don't think this, like everybody's heard of ghosts, Bigfoot.
Right. Said,
Oh,
"I've
yeah, I never heard of black-eyed
the-
kids
the
before."
keys." Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah. Wow.
But boy, they found them.
They know you.
They'd heard of you, apparently. But before my experience, I'd never heard of anything having to do with a black-eyed kids. I was 12.
No, Art.
I was sitting outside of a hairdresser's in an old Chevy pickup, waiting for my mom to get her hair cut. About 15 minutes had passed, and I saw some kid walking back and forth along the sidewalk in front of my parked car. At first, I thought I recognized him as one of my friends from school, so I banged on the front windshield until he looked my way.
Oops.
Yeah, it was not anyone I knew. And at this point, I was not scared at all. Not yet.
Not yet.
The boy walked over to the side of my car and just stares. I think to let me get a good look at his eyes to freak me out. And let me tell you, if you have never seen a black-eyed kid, you have no idea what to imagine. Pupils black as the night sky. The boy whispers, "You must let me in." And then I locked the car doors.
It wasn't locked in the first place?
And then ducked down into the space below
Like
the
you never
seats.
gonna see again.
5 minutes later, he was gone. When my mom got into the car, she told me a boy with black eyes had come into the hairdresser's and insisted for my mom to give him the keys to the car.
What?
She refused. Thank God she did. Now, what makes this story even extra interesting is that this isn't a nighttime story.
Right.
Those are very, very rare.
Right.
There's some out there. I've read a few through the years that took place in daytime.
Right.
And I imagine it makes it maybe harder to identify, that they have black eyes because, really, how many people do you make eye contact with? A lot of us just kind of look down and just avoid crashing into people. And that's like our interactions. So
Right. Well, everybody's a zombie just walking around with their phone in their hand.
Yeah.
Rachel said the same exact thing. She said, so this story takes place during daytime hours?
Yeah.
Apparently so, yeah.
Yep. And they do come up. It's incredibly uncommon. But then again, to have a black-eyed kid encounter is incredibly uncommon. Yeah. So very strange, whatever it is.
Yeah, but don't bang on the window and don't bring attention to yourself. If you even have an inkling, it might turn around and have black eyes. Yeah.
It might be interesting though. Just look at it this way. So if you were in a situation where you looked and you're like, "Ooh, I think that's a black-eyed kid," wouldn't it be interesting to just kind of observe?
No.
You wouldn't want to?
No.
Oh, I would absolutely.
You remember your UFO encounter?
Yeah.
Where you were looking at them and you realized that they were probably looking right at you too.
Yeah.
Do you think something of a supernatural or paranormal nature needs to actually look at you to see you?
I don't know. That's probably true, but
Something like that, they might sense you.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. There is that. If it looked at me, I'd be like, okay, that's far enough. I'm done.
Right.
But,
are you gonna maintain eye contact and go, yeah, you caught me? No.
Yeah.
No.
Oops.
I'd be running the other way. See ya.
I'd be like, have you heard the good news of Jesus? Pull out my
Have you
Bible.
heard of our Savior?
Yeah. Let me tell you.
Our Lord and Savior Jesus.
Are you saved? No.
Yeah.
Clearly you ain't. So get over here. Get over here.
Oh no.
I'm not bashing on Christianity. It's just trying to think of the most opposite thing to a black-eyed kid would be like, I'm going to preach the Bible to you. So, can I have a witness?
Let me thump you in the head with this.
Yeah. Come here.
There, that's a Bible thumper.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's very strange. Whatever it is. But anyway, let's go to the next one. Are black-eyed kids real? There's good reason to suspect black-eyed children are a real phenomena. The original sighting in 96 was by a newspaper reporter whose interest in telling the story of what he experienced was more out of curiosity than of fame-seeking. To this day, he maintains that the story happened the way he originally told it. That's Brian Bethel again, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it says there's also many, many independent eyewitness accounts spread out through multiple countries who've described similar experiences. They corroborate each other with the same MO the children have. Pale appearance with all black eyes appearing in 2 or 3s, clothing style out of date, needing to gain access to the witness vehicle or home. It's also important to keep in mind that the black-eyed kid's story isn't that phenomenal. If someone were making up a story, they might try harder to make it more interesting or fantastical. The situation described seems creepy, but not like the plot of a horror movie, just an everyday situation with some kids in it that seems strange. Yeah, but Their eyes are black.
That seems strange.
That seems odd to me.
That's the strange part.
It looks like they have no soul. I don't like that part. I don't know. Very odd. I think there is truth to that. I mean, there's look, it's as far as the sensationalism go, generally it's let us in, use your phone. Gosh, I really want to, but these things scare the hell out of me. No, I'm not going to. Shut the door. Good night. The end.
RJ Windwalker has to go take a long walk off a short beer. Says Don's going to wake up to a BEK beard braiding his beard. I'd probably subsequently die quickly as well. Be like,
Yeah.
Sorry, did you just stroke out? Yes.
It's okay. You can grow another one.
Yeah, no.
Number 5, they just stared. This one time, early 2010, I was walking home from work and found myself escorting a young lady to her car.
Wow.
She asked me to escort her and hoping I'd talk her into a drink or two. I had already had a few of myself. I'd get a number or possibly get some that night. And I'm not going to lie, she was kind of hot. No kidding, though. She looked scared. I kept walking with her and was trying to at least to coax out of her what she was so worried about. She would only comment about some really creepy looking kids who were following her. Being we were in downtown Seattle area,
Wow.
it's not far, Don.
Nope.
This could amount to anything. So we kept walking and talking, and I kept looking behind us to see if the little bastards were in tow, but nothing popped up on the right or out of the ordinary. Then she grabs my arm really hard and whispered, "That's them."
Oh.
They're about a half a block in front of us, just standing there, looking at her. So I do the prudent thing, which was to cross the street, make sure I lock eyes with the big one. I keep in mind, once I get the lady to her car, that I'd give them an earful about being a couple little turds for scaring a lone woman in a metropolitan area.
Hey, let's go have that drink. I'll drive.
I didn't get scared or anything, but did notice something strange. They didn't break eye contact with me. Mind you, I don't look like the kind of guy you want to screw with. Honestly, in an unconscious front, since I'm a bit shy. My look reminds people of either a skinhead or club bouncer in a black tanker boots, Van Dyke mixed with the above. Don't make me look like a people person either. People break eye contact with me constantly. These two kids didn't. And that was a red flag for me. Well, I finally got this woman to her car. She said thanks. I made sure to tell her where the local police station is. It was only 5 blocks from where we were at.
West Precinct.
Yeah. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Of course I do.
Well, there's black guy kids around there, Don.
Apparently so.
So yeah, I guess they didn't really care what he had to say, though, right?
It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting, actually.
You know, and honestly, I got to say, though, if you're walking in downtown Seattle anymore and you see somebody with black eyes, they're probably wearing
Contacts.
eye contacts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's that whole goth counterculture thing, where you know the vampire thing, and they, I mean, you can mail order these contacts and they will blacken out your whole eye.
yep, they come out of you.
Yep. Even the sclera, there'll be no white whatsoever. I might get those done.
I've thought about it several times.
Just look over at you one day doing a show like,
Ah!
yeah.
What's that smell? That's Don. He just pooped himself and ran out the door.
Don just whipped up a fresh batch of poopery.
Poopery.
Number 6, trick or treat. This really freaked me out. Yesterday I noticed my neighbor hadn't put out all of his Halloween decorations, lights, etc. the past 2 years I've lived next to him. He's gone all out for Halloween. I don't know him well. He's younger, single, but I know he likes kids, not in a creepy way. His brother and sister-in-law and their kids are always visiting him, and he plays with his 3 young nieces and nephews out in the yard. So anyway, I got home from work and was just walking up my driveway, and I saw him outside and said something like, "Hey, man, you better get your Halloween stuff up, or that house up the street's going to beat you for best decorations." Well, he kind of smiles sheepishly and says he's actually going to keep his house dark this year and just put candy out. I asked if he was going out of town, but he said no. Something happened last year that really scared him.
Yeah, no doubt.
Now, I was concerned for my own safety. If some weirdos were coming around our neighborhood, which is a pretty safe neighborhood with tons of young families living here. So I asked him what happened. He said last year he had his brother's family over so they could trick or treat in the neighborhood since they live in an apartment complex. That doesn't do much for Halloween. And he had a bunch of kids come to the door like always. His family took off at around 10:30 and there were only a few older trick-or-treaters, but by 11:30 they were pretty much done. So he was inside watching TV. The doorbell rings. He grabs the candy bowl and heads over, noticing it's a little past midnight, and that's pretty rude for trick-or-treaters to still be out. But then he notices he hasn't turned off all his decoration lights yet. So his house is still a beacon. He swings the door open and is about to yell, "Boo!" or something to freak them out, but he stops dead when he sees the kids at the door. He said one was around probably 13 or 14, and the other around 16 or 17. They were both boys.
Sounds right.
And they weren't dressed up, but he remembers the older one was wearing a flannel checkered shirt. He was immediately overcome with uneasiness.
Yep.
Like opening the door was a huge mistake. They just stared at him, and he noticed they had really big irises and dilated pupils, and he couldn't even see the whites of their eyes. So he figured they were contact lenses, and he was frozen there holding the candy bowl, like he couldn't slam the door in their face as much as he wanted to. So he nervously tried to smile at them, hoping they would break character and ask for candy or something. The younger one said that they had gotten lost and needed to come in and use his phone. Well, that was when he closed the door more than halfway on them and said, "Nope, sorry." The older one said something like, "Can we just wait in your house until our parents come get us?" But then, by then, he was convinced that his life was in danger, and these kids must be high on something, or intending to rob him, and he just kept mumbling, "Nope, sorry. Good night," as he the door closed and locked it. He told me he was so scared at one point that they were going to break in through one of the windows or something, but he looked through the peephole and they had turned to leave. He watched TV with the volume really low so he could hear any sounds at all, and he said he stayed up until like 5 a.m. because he was too scared to go to bed.
Wow.
And drop in his guard. The whole time he's telling me this, I'm thinking, oh my God, it sounds so familiar, just like the Black-Eyed Kids urban legend. But then I thought, hey, maybe this dude is trying to scare me because, after all, he does have the Halloween spirit. So I'm looking at him incredulously, but trying not to seem too gullible. So I'm like, man, that's really crazy. Sounds like the Black-Eyed Kids. He just looks at me blankly. The what? Is that a movie or something? I said, no, but I told him to go look it up online. Like an hour later, I get a knock on my door and admittedly almost jump out of my skin thinking it's a demon child. It was my neighbor and his eyes were freaking huge.
Yep.
He swears to me up and down that he'd never heard of the Black-Eyed Kids before. And it's so similar to what happened to him. So we talked a while longer and I told him it's quite a few people probably know about the urban legend. And it's possible it was just teenagers with black sclera lenses trying to freak people out on Halloween, which would be genius, by the way. But he said the fear he felt was so primal and came over him the second he opened the door for them.
I wonder if you if you had something that could play like, what is it, 19 hertz? Just walk around with that with the black and playing something that's playing a
Is that what it was?
Hertz, ultrasound, what's it called? Infrasound?
Infrasound?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be crazy? You walk up to somebody, you just look at them, they
That's like your truth detector.
yeah, no doubt.
You just go into a crowded area and just playing 19 hertz. I tell you what, the scary part would be when certain one of them turned around.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
And then looked at you.
You got a point.
Yeah.
Then they show up on your porch at night.
He knows.
Let me in.
Yeah, it's the they live thing.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
got one that can see. We got one that can see. Yeah, God. That's horrifying.
It would be.
That would be horrifying, ladies and gentlemen. Yikes. All right, let's go to number 7. Every story I've read about them is from someone who already knew about them. Last night was like any other night. I was switching between listening to music and watching YouTube videos with one headphone in so I can hear my infant daughter if she cries. That way my wife can get a full night's sleep. She works at 4 a.m. at the hospital every day. When I decide to go lay down in the spare bed of the baby's room, just as I dozed off, I hear a thumping coming from the front porch. Startled at first, I open my eyes wide and scan the room, realizing it's most likely the cat scratching himself on the front porch. I doze back off. Then again, the thumping. Damn cat.
That's me.
I got out of bed to run him off the porch, only to see he wasn't there anymore. Now that I was up again, I wasn't the least bit tired, and I figured I'll just try and get some tea and check the Facebook while I'm up. Maybe finish the web series I was watching on YouTube. A few minutes into the video, I felt the sudden urge to look up at the kitchen window.
Oh.
And there they were.
Oh.
That's got to be a horrible feeling.
Oh, gosh.
The tops of the two short-statured people's heads, cresting the stairs just above my window frame. The people were just short enough not to see in the window, but I could see out. I heard no footsteps on the porch as my stomach turned, but the knock was a steady hollow thump. The very same thump I just blamed on my cat. Deciding it was best not to answer, I shut my laptop, crept by the back door to the baby's room. I assumed it was some of the people from the low-income housing across the road from me that were high or hiding from the cops, or maybe looking for my cousin who stays with me and has many friends over there. The last thing I needed was to try to explain to two stoners that I was trying to sleep, even though it was 2 a.m. It wasn't until I got to my daughter's room that the creepiness set in.
Ooh.
The thump had moved from the kitchen to the bedroom windows.
No.
Both windows, a room apart, thumping in perfect time. These stoners were going to wake up my daughter if I didn't run them off now. Pissed off, I went out into the kitchen, unlocked and opened the door, ready to run around the side of the house and kick some little idiot butt. It happened then. Standing there, looking up at me, were two 10 or 11-year-old boys. The feeling of dread and the smell of mold almost made me want to vomit.
Mold, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
The smaller of the two then spoke, "May we use your telegraph?"
Yeah, no, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that's old. Huh? I just stared blankly at these boys, horrified of what I then realized. Their eyes were pitch black, and he asked again to use my telegraph. There wasn't a sound to be heard, no crickets chirping, no dogs barking, no cars driving, nothing.
Because they're smart. They're scared of them.
Yeah. I tried to play it cool and ignore the fact that he didn't say telephone or phone or cell or anything that would have made any sense, and calmly replied, "I don't have service at my house, sorry." The expressions on their face turned to rage as I finished my sentence. Swiftly, I shut the door and locked it as quickly as I could, then stumbled back to protect my daughter. I picked her up from the crib and held her close. The fact that she didn't wake up freaked me out the most, but I managed to gather my senses enough to make sure she was still breathing and warm. Everything seemed okay with her. The thumping on the windows was back. I dropped to the floor as close to the wall as I could and held my little girl in my arms and wept like a child. I felt helpless and afraid. I lied there for what felt like hours and hours, crying and shaking until I heard it. My wife's alarm clock. The thumping stopped the instant the alarm went off, and I crept into the master bedroom with the baby. "What's wrong with you?" my wife asked. "I just had a bad dream," is all I can mutter out. "Okay, well, give me the baby so I can feed her before work." I handed my wife the baby, and she fed her like any other day. I turned on every light of the house and made coffee for her. For some reason, just having her awake calmed my nerves. Enough to pretend like nothing happened. I walked her out to the car nervously with the baby in my arms, and I asked her not to leave until I walked back in the house. She was put off by the request, but did so to humor me. Once I was safely in the house, I locked the door again and in the house I sat horrified until she got home. I insisted we go to the next town over and stay the weekend at my brother's house, and here I sit horrified while she sleeps in the guest room with my daughter. Wondering why they stopped when the alarm went off? I think I know the answer. I was aware of BEKs. She wasn't. Every story I've read about them is from somebody who already knew about them. Maybe, just maybe, knowledge of them existing is the only reason they visit. I'm afraid and I'm sorry, except for the one we just read of the guy who didn't know about them.
Right.
So I think it's an interesting take, but it didn't wash out to a perfect score. I think it's more than just a knowledge.
Yeah, because I'm not going to rock that boat. Never mind.
Just leave her alone. Number 8. How much more is this one? This one really keeps going, doesn't it?
It does. It's a good one.
Wow. You won't be calling anybody.
And they're not very small either.
No.
Oh, so I was going to say about the telegraph, though.
Yeah.
How many people had telegraphs in their house in the first place, even back then?
Oh, sure. You'd have to go to
you had to go
a wire
to,
station.
Yeah, you had to go to like the
Western
post
Union.
office or Western Union. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, beep, 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 beep. It's like, a telegraph in my house? Really? No.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty dated reference. But you wouldn't expect that reference from a little kid.
Right? Yeah,
That's like scary stuff.
Like, how do they even know what a telegraph is?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Boy, they should sit them down with some Discovery Channel. They got some catching up to do.
Do it like they do it on Discovery Channel. They might learn a little too much.
No. No.
Yeah, we don't want them to multiply.
No.
Never mind.
Not only multiplying.
There's a thought for you.
No, there's no thoughts. None at all. All right, let's go to number 8. No, you won't be calling anybody. The incident took place about 13 years ago. I just moved to a new city with my wife. We were small town newlyweds from the Midwest. We moved across country to one of the biggest cities in the Southwest so that I could attend graduate school. Being naive and new to city living, I habitually answered the door without a second thought. Never again after this. First thing that should have tipped me off to the peculiarity of the situation was the fact that somebody was knocking at 6 a.m. The second thing that should have dawned on me is that this kid had to reach over a rather tall patio gate to unlatch it and open it. The knock at the door was startling. My wife and I were getting ready for work, a pretty normal routine. The moment I opened the door, I was overtaken with an inexplicable sense of fear. Yikes. That's a bad start, Don.
Nope, it's not a good one.
Yep. To this day, I can picture him. Teenager, average height, average build, knee-length black leather coat, short black hair, and sunglasses. The sunglasses at 6 a.m. struck me as odd. And even more odd was he was eating an apple. He was very polite and asked if he can come in and warm up, and I said, no. Closed the door and slid the security chain into place. A moment later, another knock. I opened the now chained door, and before I could speak, he asked again if he could come in and warm up. Nope, I replied and attempted to close the door, but before the door could shut, he put his hand out and stopped the door on its hinges. He looked directly into my eyes, and was still wearing sunglasses, and said, "Can I at least get some ketchup for my apple?"
What?
Yeah, not me. Screw that, I reply, albeit a little confused. Get the hell out of here. My wife's calling the police. He takes a moment to let this information sink in, lowers his glasses, revealing eyes as black as obsidian,
Wow.
and says, "No, you won't be calling anybody." At that moment, I force the door closed, lock it, call out to my wife, and she's scared poopless, hiding in the bedroom, all jacked up on adrenaline. I rip the curtains back to look out the window next to the door, and he's gone. Absolutely no trace of him. I go out on the patio and check the gate. It's still latched from the outside, or from the inside. That was screwed up, I think to myself. As I turn to enter the house, I notice a half-eaten apple lying on the ground. Would you touch it, Don?
No.
You might get black-eyed kid germs. Ugh. Interesting.
Oh, he's standing right there.
Yeah, right in front.
Yep.
Front and center, right by the circle light.
You're not a black-eyed kid, are you? We are the ghost of the black-eyed children.
You just go ahead and keep talking that, but you're dragging it home.
Yeah, no. You can keep the black-eyed beans.
No, I'm not keeping them.
Oh, yes, you can keep them.
They know they're not welcome here. All right, number 9, I was having a visceral experience all over my body.
I can't say I've tried ketchup on apples. Oh, you guys up there eat gravy on French fries, you weirdos.
That sounds... Gravy's good on anything Tato, though, isn't it?
No.
What do you mean no?
No, because gravy's good on biscuits.
Ooh,
with
that's
2 eggs running over the top of them.
I think there's more uses of gravy than just biscuits.
Well, no, tri-tip, beef tips. Beef tips would be good. Yep.
Gravy's,
mustard.
Gravy's just good on meat
Mustard for these taters.
and taters. All right. Having a visceral experience. I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't know about black-eyed kids before this happened to me. Late summer last year, I definitely did. Now in the moment, that idea never crossed my mind. But afterwards, hell yes. And the thought led to all kinds of regrets. I realize it's stupid, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you about my neighborhood. I live in a poor part of town, a bit ghetto, a bit barrio, a bit of the lower economic class, and of a cross-section of races. It's L.A. The apartment complex spans a short block, and it's dusty brown like the desert we live in. It's got 2 pools, lots of little Mexican children, and for the most part, pretty friendly population. Scroll for effect. I'm a destitute writer trying to make it in Hollywood, so I spend my free time writing. And when this happened...
So they just threw doubt on this whole story.
I know, yeah. You just got the inside scoop.
Right?
Yeah. And the only way I'm going to get known is making black-eyed kid stories. When this happened, I was working mostly in the mornings and afternoons, and I'd get home, hit the gym, then settle in for an evening in front of the computer. It's pretty common for the evenings in the summer to be chaotic around our complex. Kids playing in the pool, ice cream man pushing his cart up and down the sidewalk, women talking outside the laundry room. Hey, I do my own laundry, but I am pretty much the only guy I see here doing it. Mm-hmm. You know, nice, low income, but pleasant, like a mixed race 21st century version of a 50s sitcom. Sounds really pleasant, actually.
Yeah, Pleasantville. You ever seen that?
Yeah, I think so. And people will knock on your door, sometimes to borrow something. I cook, so neighbors pop by to find out the origins of great aromas wafting from my kitchen window. Sometimes for a little help working on a broken down car, but mostly it's kids selling candy bars, or Christmas wrapping paper, or jittery tweakers selling magazine subscriptions, or old Mexican men selling bootleg DVDs, lots of Jehovah's Witnesses. Because it's hot out, I leave my windows open. AC isn't cheap. And I've got no money, remember? I'm hoping for the cross breeze. That means, though I can't see anyone from where I sit and work, I can hear them very clearly as they walk up to my door. When I hear someone knock, I answer it. Besides buying the occasional candy bar, I smile, politely decline, and wish them a nice day, and send them off. No big deal. The evening was quiet, which was strange in and of itself, and should have at least been able to hear the distant sound of ranchero music, and I heard it. A couple of people walk up to my door. I'm not the first apartment in my courtyard. I hear the salespeople as they knock on my neighbors' doors and work their way around to me. Not this time. Whoever it was walked right up to my door and knocked. Well, I got up to answer it. I reached for the door handle when a chill went through my body like I've never experienced. A cold tightness in my chest. I halted my hand movement towards the door handle and placed it flat on the door as if I was feeling for heat from a fire. I have a peephole in my door, but it never crossed my mind to use it.
What?
Yeah, why would you use that?
Yeah, God forbid.
Jeez. I stood there with my hand flat on the door and listened, and they knocked again. I don't scare easily, and I wasn't exactly afraid, but I was having a visceral experience all over my body, a base fear reaction, just like I could hear them. They had heard me move to the door and knew I was inside. Where did it go? There it is. Yes, I said, who is it? A boy's voice answered, we need to use your phone. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I started laughing.
Ain't gonna happen.
I stressed the laugh. When I'm in pain or under pressure, and they heard me laughing, and neither of us moved for a minute or two, a really, really long minute or two. Finally, they walked away, not to any other of the 8 doorways within 15 feet, not to ask anyone else. Before they could have gone more than a dozen yards, curiosity reasserted itself, and I yanked the door open, running after them to see who it was and where they were headed. The courtyard of my complex was completely empty. Afterwards, I thought the experience fit the stories about black-eyed kids, and I kicked myself for not opening the door coming face to face with black-eyed kids. How cool would it have been?
God, how stupid can this guy be? Well, you know what? He is a fiction writer.
Right. But then I remember that feeling, my skin crawling, and the certain knowledge in me at that moment. There was no way in hell I was opening that door at any time.
Nope.
Yeah. So he actually did defer to a good choice. Yeah, look at that. Looks like they need a shave. That little girl needs a little bit of a shave
Looks
there.
like her lips are sewn shut too.
Right.
Oh,
Yep. Can't use the phone now.
Malachi.
Yeah. He wants you to.
He wants you too.
There you go.
Oh, gosh.
How are we doing for time?
I don't know, but they keep talking about putting pineapple on pizzas.
I like pineapple on
Yeah,
pizzas.
the only thing a pineapple should be is left in the ground and then tilled back in to grow more potatoes. Then we can go and put gravy on.
Don, you're so opinionated. You are so opinionated.
No kidding.
Wow. You got a certain idea.
You know, Rachel, we just asked that earlier too before we came on or before we started. Was wonder where audio is.
Yeah, we were wondering
Hope
that too.
he's doing all right.
He allegedly had stories to share with us, but he just never showed up again. So I don't know what's going on. I hope that he and the kitty are doing wonderful.
Yeah, no doubt.
And if he does show up, we'll be here waiting. Yeah, very cool.
I spent an hour on the shading on your upper lip. Well, okay, whatever. So wow, that's a great way to answer the phone. Pizza and beer. That's why we're here. Smoking Fab Guns, Smoking Guns Fab. We're just gonna call them Smoking Guns because like I can't speak today. We have a pizza place where I live that trumps all franchises, and that's how they answer the phone. So there you go.
Very cool. All right, we're going to read number 10 here. He told me never to agree to help them. It was cold October evening, not too far off from Halloween. I remember sitting in my room playing the original Suikoden. It's Suikoden? That's not right, is it? It's that Sudoku or something like that. What is the word?
You know what? Let me look it up. Spell
Yeah.
it for me.
Suikoden is the way they have it spelled, but that doesn't seem right. Seems they got something misspelled.
Fantasy Water.
I'm thinking of Sudoku.
Yeah, is a series of role-playing video games created by Yoshitaka Murayama. The games are loosely based on classical Chinese novel Water Margin.
Okay, well, maybe it's a different thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking that the Japanese number game or whatever.
Yeah, that's Sudoku, though.
Sudoku.
Yeah, it's not Sudoku.
All right.
Yeah.
So the evening was slowly creeping by, so I decided to go to the corner store. It was only 3 blocks. Shouldn't be too much trouble, right? Well, during my walk, I seen the normal. The occasional person putting up Halloween decorations and kids playing in their yards, but this story is about something far more sinister. Yeah, those kids playing in their yard isn't sinister enough.
Right.
We need more. I remember seeing 2 teens about the age of 14 knocking on a door and asking to use the phone, which, of course, I thought was weird because most teens these days have phones. Well, as I kept walking, they stopped and stared at me for a short moment. I felt the blood in veins chill. I felt so creeped out, I hurried to the next block. The next block seemed fine until I looked behind me and saw the two teens were following me. Well, I took off sprinting to the store at this point. I saw the sign for the store, and relief washed over me. I opened the door and I told the cashier about what had happened on the way here. He looked at me slightly creeped out and told me a story about this happening to him in his hometown and how they found him the day he left and asked for his help in an emotionless voice. And he told me to never agree to help.
Mm-hmm.
He told me another story, but at that point, I was no longer paying attention because they were standing at the door asking to be let in. Oh, that's horrible.
Oh, no.
The cashier freaked out, and he locked the door. The teens never seemed to waver or leave. They wouldn't step away from the door. It had been an hour. The cashier and I were ready to fight our way out, but instead he took me out the back. The one teen came around the back just as the door shut behind us. "Can you help me?" is all he would say. He was closing in on us, and his eyes, they were as black as a starless night. They were peering right into my soul.
Yeah, I bet.
I couldn't help but gaze into his eyes.
Sucker.
The terror.
Yes.
I can't remember too much of what happened next, but I do recall the sounds of struggle.
Do you have cancer?
What?
There have been reports of people getting cancer after having looked
yeah.
into the eyes of a black-eyed child.
Yeah.
A black-eyed kid.
Okay. It says, when I came to, the cashier was struggling with both teens. He was calling out to me for help. I ran towards them, grabbed him by his collar, and pulled him between the two and knocking them over in the process. I didn't look back until I was near my house. The cashier was gone, but the teens were still following behind. I ran into my house, closed all the blinds, and turned the music up. Mm-hmm. I got lucky that day. I'm not sure how long I can keep out of their grasp. Were they hunting him?
That's what it sounds like.
That sounds a little fantastic to me.
No.
I tried to find find and thank the cashier for saving my life that day, but he didn't show up at work after that. And I asked his boss, and he told me he called over the phone and quit. He said he was moving. To this very day, I sometimes feel the fear in those eyes watching me as I drive to work. I sometimes will look out my window and swear I see them watching my house from a couple blocks away, waiting for their next chance. So that's weird. How did it get physical? He says he doesn't know what happened. He just kind of blacked out, and when he came to, there was a scuffle going on.
Right.
So the cashier just, say, "Oh, you're attacking him," and go after him, and so it became physical. What happened to the cashier?
Right.
Because that's definitely when you're in contact with them, all bets are off. I mean, you've agreed. So with anything, there's kind of there's two points of engagement. There's no engagement, or there's engagement. Mm-hmm. So if you're just at a stalemate, I'm not letting you in, and I'm not going to attack you. I'm just going to stay here in my house, and you're going to stay out there. So that's the stalemate portion, where I think they just leave.
Yeah, no, the stalemate portion is broken by the sound of pew 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 pew.
Yeah. But if you engage physically with them,
I ain't touch them. Nope.
right? But you know what I'm saying, right? Because then whatever it would be that they could do if they got in your house, I would assume they could do to you just by you having engaged in that manner. Like it's now
that does make sense, yeah.
Right. Like there's no barrier, no goodness clause there anymore. It's like, all right, you're engaged. Good luck.
Yeah.
You know?
Engage this. Pew
Yeah.
pew pew pew. Fatal funnel. Come on.
Fatal funnel. Yeah.
Come on in.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know. It's creepy stuff. But I think when you it's like, it's the old, the demon's attacking the child. Why don't you pick on someone your own size? And it's like,
Sucker.
well, that sounds like a great idea.
I'll be right with you.
Yeah.
You're next.
Yeah. And it doesn't work out well for the guy that says pick on someone your own size.
No.
It works out horribly for that person.
Never.
So, people's hearts, I think, are in the right place, but I don't think it doesn't work out altruistically at all. So I don't know. Very curious. I'd love to know what happened to that cashier because.
Yeah, well, It said in the story that he moved already once to get rid of them.
Yeah. So
then they found him again.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of he's on the run.
He's on the hit list.
He's scared of him.
Yeah, I would be too.
Probably absolutely rightfully so.
Yeah. Very crazy.
Pointy sticks for the win. Yes.
Whatever.
Absolutely.
Whatever. All right. This is 11 survival story. I helped them once. Wow. I never, ever, under any circumstance, do it. I'm not sure what they do, but it feels as if they're ripping your soul out.
Wow.
They get really close to you, and you get amazingly drowsy. If it weren't for my girlfriend showing up mid-invasion and kicking them out, I probably would be dead. I didn't even see the black eyes until I'd let them in.
Huh?
They're getting smarter.
No, you just were stupid. I'm sorry, but that's the way of it. I mean, you know, you talk to them, you're looking right at them, and they're not looking at you. They're not making eye contact. There's something wrong. Why'd you let them in?
Something ain't right about that. I'll tell you that.
Hell?
All right, let's read number 12, and that's going to be about it for tonight.
There you go.
Because that's all we got time for, folks.
Because I'm scared as hell now.
You got to go home.
I do. I got to go out in the dark.
I'll stay here in the safety of the house as Don heads out into the unknown blackness of night. Good luck, Don.
With a beacon that says, BK, come see me.
Playing 19 hertz out of his cell phone.
Exactly.
Bit of a scene setting.
Go away.
Bit of a scene setting. In 96, 97, I live with a fairly old terraced house with a cemetery at the end of the road.
Nice. People were just driving.
Sounds lovely. Oh, I bet it had a great view. Cliche, I know, but it's an important
view.
Yeah, it had a great view. But it's an important detail. Nothing remarkable about the house or the area. It was just convenience for college. Anyway, I was up late one night on my PC in my bedroom, which looked out onto the street. It was about 2 or 3 a.m. For whatever reason, probably to give my eyes a rest, I wandered over the window and looked down the road in the direction of the cemetery. Thought it was too far down the street for me to see, although it was too far down the street for me to see. And I saw 3 people walking slowly down the road. I could see that they were quite old and appeared to be dressed in funeral clothes. Given the hour was weird, there were 2 women and a man. I put their ages at about 80, and the woman in the middle was being steadied or guided by the other woman. And the man, as they came closer, I got the impression that she was upset. My first thought was that given their age, they had recently buried her husband, and grief had caused her to behave slightly irrational, causing her to try to be out near the cemetery at that hour, and that the other 2 were friends or relatives trying to look after her and get her home. Anyway, it was all interesting enough for me to carry on watching as they got closer to the house. Just outside the front of the house was a street lamp. I watched them as they made their way past, but when they got to the lamppost, they all stopped, and the upset woman in the middle looked up at me and grinned.
Ooh.
Oh, Jesus. That's horrible. And this is when things got weird. Yes, it
Really?
did.
Wow.
Yes, it did. I would agree. This is when things got weird. The grin became a sort of grimace. And if there was any color in her face to start with, was now dead white.
Wow.
At that point, I realized it was staring right into her eyes, but her eyes were pitch black. Time sort of dilated. If you've ever crashed your car in the final split second, before you make impact, it seems to drag out as you process more information than normal in the time frame. It was that sort of thing. And I'm sure we only made eye contact for a second, but it felt like several minutes as my peripheral vision faded, and I felt like all I could see were these 2 black holes in her face, drawing me in. Although the distance between us didn't change, she somehow felt like she was coming closer, and I was kind of aware, although I couldn't honestly say I could see them at that point, and that the 2 people with her were just continuing to look down at the road as if frozen, but waiting for this woman to finish whatever she was doing. I was suddenly hit with this intense feeling of dread and panic, so I threw myself on the floor. As soon as I'd broken her gaze, I felt pretty stupid that this upset old woman, who clearly needed help, had spooked me so badly. So I looked out the window again, and there was no sign of them.
Oh.
It was a longish straight road, and the house was towards the middle, so Linford Christie would have trouble getting out of sight in the time I looked away, let alone 3 octogenarians. I don't know who Linford Christie is. Maybe a runner or something. An old reference to a runner, but yeah, that's creepy as hell. That's an adult, though.
Yeah.
And black-eyed adults are out there, too, apparently.
Yeah, that's where the black-eyed beans came from, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they're your beans.
I don't remember. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. There's no proof.
There's proof.
So
It's still out there.
Rachel says, try carrying a UV light with me at night.
Ooh.
Maybe that'll repel them.
Yeah. Give them an instant sunburn. Yeah, with all that pale skin.
No doubt.
They'll go instant pink.
Why are you starting to burn? Give me my steak.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Well, yeah, that's cool. That was an unusual night tonight, folks. That was another first here on the Paranormal Portal. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know how it all worked out, but it did work out. It's just really weird.
Chucky says it'll attract them.
Yeah, yeah.
And Rachel says, Chucky, we're trying to keep Dave Don safe. I appreciate you so much, Rachel. Chucky's like, yeah, let him get eaten.
Yeah, we'll just keep filming him.
Look, and they're taking him down.
Yeah.
like a lion on the savannah. Rawr.
There's a whole family of black-eyed kids chewing on Don's ankles. Weird.
The black-eyed babysitter standing there watching.
That's it.
Great. Now I'm just freaked out. It's like, wonderful.
Yeah. That's
Wonderful.
funny. That is funny. But I think these stories are cool. Again, it's one of those concepts that's way out there. It's hard to make heads or tails of it. It's apparently a very real phenomena people experience, but what does it mean? I don't know. I really don't know. I wish I knew, but I just think that they're somehow having to do with lower vibrational entities of some sort.
Yeah.
Never human, but looking human.
Mm.
So, but take it or leave it.
There you go.
Do with it what you will.
Insert David Attenborough's voice. Yeah. Anything said by David Attenborough is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. David Attenborough. He could explain a dog fart, and it would be interesting. That guy's got a great voice. But I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a presentation of the Paranormal Portal. It was brought to you by the letters O, M, and G.
Right.
And we are always going to be here doing these live shows.
And the color brown.
Don's brown salutes. And yeah, we'll be back on Friday night and Saturday night as well. So remember, Hometown Ghost Stories joining me this Saturday.
Yeah.
We'll have a great time with those guys. They're just so much fun. Looking forward to getting them on here and just having a blast for 2 hours. So hopefully I'll get all this internet stuff sorted. I don't know what the hell happened tonight.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It just gave up. You know, honestly, I was trying to watch. What was I watching? I was watching the Matrix movie before I came over today. And for some reason, it was streaming. It was streaming fine. And then all of a sudden, it just stopped working. We had to reset my Fire Stick and everything. It was just crazy. Yeah. So things are being weird.
Do you have fiber at your house?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have Ting. Yeah.
Okay, you got the same one I got. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So,
All right.
Craziness.
Well, anything in closing, Don?
No, just remember that if you want your somebody said, Maggie, you need to get her a new bucket hat. That's why she keeps stealing yours. So you need a new one. Karen, I saw Karen posted a picture of her husband Neil wearing our shirt.
Yep.
And then Barbara got the gator with the microphone in the hand.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the podcast.
Very cool, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we love that. That support goes a long way for us. So thank you so much, everybody. It does. And honestly, you guys are spreading the word that way.
Yep.
And making us feel awesome. So thank you so much for that. And go over to Teespring. The site is in the description below on YouTube.
There you go.
And check it out. there's more stuff there. Always more stuff there. Yeah, I guess that's about it. So I'll be back on Friday. I'm going to do my best to do a member show tomorrow, but watch social media to be sure. I got a few irons in the fire that I'm going to have to.
He might need to just take a nap.
I might need a nap.
You know, you're starting to do that whole, 10 podcasts and shows a week thing again.
Yeah, it's
slow down, buddy.
It's been a bit of a track race.
Yeah.
And I got to admit, it's more work than I remember it being.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I just want to tell you all, as always, the way I close every show, but I couldn't mean every word more sincerely this time than I did the first time. We love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as we can.
That's so sweet.
And I do mean it, though. You guys are an incredible extension of my life, and I'm very honored you guys are here and making yourselves a part of all of this. So
Happy New Year!
love the Portal Mom. Yeah, keep the prayers coming for Portal Mom.
Yep.
She's doing better. So I'm sure that your love and care and support and prayers are helping her. So please keep your prayers going out to Portal Mom. And we'll be back at least on Friday for sure. So Sheldon will be with me and we'll dig into it again. So until then, we'll see you. Be good. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Yes.
It's the slide. You're sliding to Friday.
Yeah.
Most of you are sliding to Friday. Others of you are sliding to hell. No.
Right. Taking a long train.
All right, guys. That's it. That's all we got. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
See you next time.
Woo!